Hi everyone, my name is Max and I'm CEO and founder of Flowby.ai. I have created a new YouTube channel to share some cool stuff you can do with AI because many people were asking what are the use cases where you can apply AI, how you can benefit from it, etc. So the really goal of this channel will be to share some cool stuff you can do with it. I will be sharing some tutorials and maybe some practical use cases where you can apply AI in your business. And if you're interested and like it, support me with a comment and like. Otherwise, let's jump straight into it. So today we're going to talk about how you can scrape the news articles from the outlets, provide and feed those articles to a large language model to read it, comprehend, provide a detailed summary for you so you can actually grasp only the fruits from this process. You can grasp the summary, you can grasp the main idea, what are the news. You don't actually need to search it yourself. You would be getting like either an email inbox or you would be getting a Slack message with everything you need. So let's get to it. So first of all, we're going to be using quite simple process. We have Apify, HTTP request, aggregation to JSON, Claude, and Slack message for it. It doesn't look big, doesn't look complicated, but it's very powerful in my opinion. So let's take a look at what it does. So first, it runs an actor. We'll talk about the Apify in a second. It runs an actor on apify.com. So essentially what it does, it scrapes the information from the news outlet we're choosing. Then the HTTP request grabs the information from the Apify. The iterator then splits the information so we can work with each article in particular. Then we have a filter, and the filter here would filter out the dates. So we essentially want to follow only the latest articles, not all the articles, and we're going to discuss that. Sometimes you are not able to scrape the articles based on the specific dates. So you will need to find a way around it, and we're going to be doing this with a filter function. And then we aggregate this to JSON format because I will be passing the JSON to Claude, as this is probably a more efficient way for Claude to read the information and comprehend it. It's just easier and natural way for Claude to work with programmatic languages such as JSON being one of those. And then we have a specific prompt, and JSON reads the information, provides a detailed summary, and we receive a message in our Slack channel saying, hey, this is the summary, the top news, the supporting news, etc. We'll see how that works. So first of all, with Apify. So let's take a look how Apify works. And those who don't know, let me quickly show you how the Apify works. So we go to apify.com, and it's a brilliant website. It has a lot of APIs that you can use for scraping data from the internet. So you can sign up with Gmail account. I already signed up, so that's why I just log in. And basically here, when you go to store, you can find all the different types of factors. You can find Google Maps scraper, website content scraper, TikTok scraper. So there are a lot of different actors, as they call them. So essentially, those are like bots that scraping information from different websites, social media, etc. that you can later on use for the analysis, or you can use that to feed that information to your large language model. And then, for example, if you scrape an influencer or whatever, you can mimic their style and tone of voice as the way they speak or publish or content they make, etc. So there are a ton of things you can do. But today we're going to be focusing specifically to fast news scraper. So let's find the fast news scraper. It looks like this, and it's pretty simple. So it has different sizes that you can choose from: New York Times, Washington Post, Bloomberg, etc. You choose a query. So basically you can think about it as you would go to a website like, let's say New York Times, for example. You go to New York Times, NewYorkTimes.com. And here we would be using a search bar, and the search bar is here. And I would go with artificial intelligence. And it will provide me with certain articles. Some of the articles are July 3rd, July 1st, June 26th, June 28th. 7 hours ago. And it doesn't mean that the articles are necessarily sorted by date. They're just sorted by whatever relevance they decide. And some of the other news outlets will have this issue that they will not have the date function available. So you'll not be able to grasp the latest articles like last 7 days, but you will be getting just the most relevant articles the website thinks are for you. And we will find a way to get around this feature to get the latest articles as well. So essentially, getting back to the actor, we've got the input, and in that case we have query AI, or we can do artificial intelligence. It has sort by date if you got the date function working, and you know, kind of saying ahead, out of all the sites that we have here, we got Wired, Reuters, BBC, CNN. Only New York Times support the date function. So if you want to sort by date, that will be only from New York Times. So here are the dates that we choose as an example. You can run it and see how that works, and we will have different runs, etc. So in order to do that, you will need to feed in information. First of all, you need to connect your Apify account to make.com. Essentially, this environment is make.com, where you do the different automations. You can also use Zapier, but I find personally make.com a little bit more. First of all, it's cheaper. Second of all, I find it more powerful in terms of what you can do with that. But you know, you probably can do the same with Zapier. So the Apify, to connect your account, you go to add, and then you name your connection, and to find your API key, you go to settings, integration, and here you can find your API token. So you would just need to copy to clipboard and insert this here. And this is how the connection is made. It's actually free of charge, a pretty nice website. I really like it, because also behind that, you will get a memory of 8 GB. So each actor would require certain type of memory usage to run it. And the second is it provides you with $5 credits per month. So those are free credits that you can use to run your actors. And for some tasks that you will be running like once a week, or you know, even like once a day, you will get a lot of articles, right? So that will be totally enough, like even for a month. So you can play with it, and you can also use it for practical purposes if you do enough automation like that. So what we need to pass to this actor is the following. So we need to pass the JSON format, and the JSON format is available here. So essentially, you can just, you know, go and copy paste this thing, put it right here. But I have a little bit different situation here. So I want it to be for the last 7 days. That's why I do not hard code the date values here. I would be using some functions like format date and add days. And basically what this function does, it takes today's date -5. We can do -7 days before. So it's a whole week. And it format date in this format. And the reason for that date format is because this particular actor understands the format in the following way. So that's why we're doing it like this. And same goes with the end date. Instead of you know, saying just now, we can also change it if we need like -1 or 0. There is no much sense to use positive sign here +1. It means tomorrow, right? So we will not have any news for tomorrow, but we can essentially have the dates for now. So what else we have here? Artificial intelligence, and you can change it to AI or whatever other industry you have, like finance or blockchain or whatever. You can choose the website here, Bloomberg, CNN, whatever other. The date, sort by date, and again, it works only for New York Times, and this thing would work only for New York Times, but we will get around it later. And the other thing is max items. And just because for New York Times, we have those limiting factors. So let's take all the artificial intelligence news for the past week. For sites like CNN or Bloomberg, we will not have that option. So what it's essentially going to do, it's going to scrape all the news that it will find. For example, if we go to CNN.com, we go to the search bar, and then we go with artificial intelligence. Essentially, what's going to happen, it will output us a lot of news. Will output us, so display 10 results out of 1,400 results, right? So what this actor is going to do essentially is going to scrape 1,400 articles. That's going to take a lot of operations, and that's not really what we want to achieve, right? We don't want year-old articles. We want just the fresh ones. So that's why we choose max items, let's say 20, because what it does, it sorts the articles by relevance. So the website that is here, it sorts them already by relevance. So I'm not interested in the articles on the 5th page. I'm interested in the first 20 articles that appear in the search bar. So I'll get those 20 articles, and then I'll filter it by date later on. So that's why we have max items 20. So this is the, and this model specifically, it will run an actor. So the actor will perform an action. And if we unlink this and just run it, we can see here in runs that it is essentially it's running, right? So here it scrapes the information, and we can actually wait a couple seconds to see how the information looks. It's going to be very handy. requires non-empty query. Okay. Okay, so we have erased the query here. So we go with artificial intelligence. So we run it again. So you can't search with empty query. That's pretty straightforward, I guess. So that's why it failed. So we got another run here. So, and let's see how that works. We can go to see the details. So basically here, this is the query that was searching for Bloomberg. Do we have Bloomberg? I think so, yes. So yeah, we have some fresh news. 3rd of July. We've got 3rd of July, 4th of July, 3rd of July. So all the news are fresh, which is great. So all the news will be passed further. So that's today's and yesterday's news, because some websites will have very old news, specifically that are not focused on it. So that's how we run, and we got this information. So the next, you use HTTP request. So the request looks the following way. You have run an actor, but you need to get the data set with the items. And in order to do that, you will have, in each actor, you will have an API endpoints. So API endpoints will provide you with the dataset items. You can run actor, you can run synchronously, etc., etc. We already did that through the Apify integration, so we don't really need this. But we need to get last run dataset items. So that's the API endpoint we're looking at. So we need to copy paste that, and we just need to paste it back here. We use get function, get method for sure, because we will be getting the information, and we need to parse the responses. And once we do that, it will get all the data here. So if we do it like this, again, it will take some time, but we should be getting all the information that we just parsed and scraped from the Bloomberg.com on artificial intelligence. All right, so this one is finished, and we can see, all right, we've got 20 different news. That's great. Let me change this to 5, because for the sake of the video, we need it faster. So the next is each rater. So here we got it as one bundle, and we want to have each newspaper as a separate bundle so we can work it through. That's why we put an iterator here. The next one is we need to aggregate to JSON. And the reason I'm doing this, because I want to feed the JSON to my large language model. In my case, it's Claude. And Claude is kind of known for understanding the programmatic languages better, and the JSON format is very it's just nicely outlined with all the key value pairs that it will understand. So instead of like putting a bulk of text, you would format it as JSON. That will be very understandable for our system to read. So in that case, I would have the data structure the following. We've got site query, label, URL, title, author, basically all the data we got from the Apify. Almost all of the data will pass it to the JSON, then it will go to Claude. And also we have there a filter, which is pretty neat. So as I mentioned, like websites like Bloomberg, it will provide all the news that it has, right? So now we got only last couple of days news, because there were a lot of news. But if we would go 100 items or 1,000 items, it might also provide you with some of the older news that are not relevant. So in that case, what we do is we put a condition that if the date time is more than let's say 7 days, then it parses the date. So we've got the date here. So it parses the date to understand. And it says if this news are older than 7 days before, then it doesn't go through. If it's new news or fresh news, then it will pass through. So this simple filter allows us to see and aggregate to JSON and pass later to Claude only the relevant news that are up to date. So next we go to Claude, and it's a simple module. It creates a message. I use the latest Model 3 Opus for this purpose, but you probably definitely can use Sonnet or Haiku if that's too expensive. It has 4,000 context window, token context window. And basically it consists of two things. So here you would have system prompt. So my system prompt is a bigger one. It's probably a little bit of overkill for this particular purpose, but I have developed a specific GPT that writes instructions for such modules, and I like it because I get it in the way I need it. So it has the role, context, task, specifics and also examples and notes. So it has all the different structure outlined the way I'm expecting from it to get the output. And also then it has a user message. So this is a system prompt that it gets on the back end. And this is the user prompt that sends whenever the JSON is parsed. And the user prompt is very simple. This is a JSON file with the scraped information from the web, follow the system prompt using the file. Now here's the JSON string. So it reads the JSON string pretty straightforward. What else is here? I don't need any user data, sequences, top, P, etc. I just set the temperature to 0.3, and 0.3 is a little bit better for such tasks because the higher the temperature, the more variability you get. In my case, the lower temperature would mean more concrete responses I would get. And the last module basically says, hey, this is the Slack. Again, you connect it to your Slack channel. I have a Slack channel content crawler. Here's the text I want to pass that is generated by Claude. And basically, this is a very simple, just adjust the output module so you can get the output from Claude. So if we use Bloomberg 5 articles, let's see what information we get. So we run an actor. It should be running here. You shouldn't get 20. You should get 5. Let's see how that works. So it's thinking. Okay. So why does it take longer than expected? Because here it says, oh, okay. So that's the new one. Sometimes it's lagging, so we'll probably have to rerun it again. I see that. I'm sorry. I see that it's not going through. So let's redo that again. And I haven't saved it. I hope that works fine. Let me check. So we got Bloomberg 20 articles. Let's do 10. So that we don't need to wait too long. Let's do 10 articles. Oh, scenario is running. Okay, so it's running on the back end. So yeah, we got the previous message. It worked fine, but let's wait for the new one because yeah, just so we can see. So we see that the HTTP request went. It got 10 articles. All the 10 articles passed through the filter. So those were fresh articles. There is the JSON string that was created. Then Claude thinks about what it can get out of it. While it thinks, I can show you what you can get in Claude. So in order to get it from Claude, you go to Claude AI. Here you can chat with your model, but basically here you would go to API console. It's still thinking. And then you go to settings. And basically you need to feed in some money to use the API. Here are your API keys. Here's the usage, and you can say how many tokens you used in the last week, etc. And where you get your API keys, basically here, go to API, you create your key, you name it, and you just connect it. So it's done, and we should have gotten the message in Slack. So here are the message 708. Here's the summary summarization of the news article. So we got the date, URL. So the first shares of TMC rose about a record high, extending its rally to near 70% as the cheap market expected to report strong, driven by booming AI demand. Japan cheap gear sales climbing 50% this fiscal year on AI. So the next one, Villain founder backs AI to use, and there is a really short summary, but I think that's enough. It prioritized the articles by its importance as it sees this. There's a kind of, it calls weekly summary because somewhere in prompt I probably left it, but it's not really weekly summary, of course. And we see all the news. So this rally prevails fiscal year, just because you insert a link in your Slack channel, we're able to provide the news so you can read those. But basically, yeah, here you can see all the headlines. Summary, if you want a bigger summary, you probably need to expand the prompt a little bit. But yeah, that's how you get it. So yeah, and here you can change different dates. You can do it every day. So instead of -7, you will get -1. Right? So just the most fresh news. Actually, we had -5 here, not -7. So -5, -1 to 0. So here we will get just the most fresh news, and if the news are older than yesterday, then it will not go through. So that way you can manipulate and get the news you want, and you can choose whatever other site. You can choose Bloomberg, you can choose New York Times, you can go with, I don't know, CNN, whatever other, and parse it. If you want to have it for each and every newspaper, news outlet, you will need just, to copy paste that into new scenario and create it. So for example, name it one in the New York Times, the second one CNN, the third one was for Washington Post, etc. And that way you can get all the news from all the news outlets for you summarized every day or every week, simple Slack message type format, pretty fast. So yeah, thank you very much. That's my first video. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed it and liked it and can use it on a daily basis. If you liked it, please support me. That's my first video. I will try to do more of these, showing some cool stuff you can do with AI. If you liked it, please follow me, comment down below, hit the like button, and I'll be sharing more information and more videos in the future. Thank you for watching. See you next one.